about it. Letting go of your roots to change the fruits. Okay, now, first of all, to put that into perspective, we need to think about the subconscious tree. Okay, letting go of your roots to change the fruits. The subconscious tree, picture a tree. Okay, now the roots are your subconscious beliefs. Okay, the roots are your core beliefs, your core values. They're all in your roots, things you believe to be true. Okay, now these roots shape your paradigm or the trunk of the tree. Okay, that's your paradigm. Now, the fruits of the tree up here are your actions. Okay, so letting go of your roots down here to change the fruits up here. Why would you want to change your fruits? Right, to get better results. There you go. Because your actions turn into results. Okay, every action turns into a result. Now, if you want to change your actions at random, can you just do that and get a different result? Of course you can. But they're not going to be lasting results. Okay, so you could make money, right? You could make money, or you could make money stick. Okay, so when you constantly have that flow of money going, right? Money just comes. Money comes. Now, sometimes you have to be patient. Okay, sometimes there's a little lag in that flow because money doesn't always come all the time. Okay, nothing happens all the time. So everything is an energy. Everything is energy. Okay, so that flow is energy. Okay, your blood flow is energy. Everything is energy. Okay, when you break it down. So now how do you keep that flow going when it comes to money? Well, you have to observe your pattern, your energy patterns. Okay, you have to look at your moods. When are you the happiest? You ever notice that when money's coming in, you're happy, right? When money goes out, what happens? People start to worry. People start to feel scarcity, right? And then what happens? And then the money slows down, right? Okay, so we're going to change our roots so we can change the fruits up here. Okay? Now, how do you change the roots? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization, all day long. Yep. It's not difficult. It's just a process. Don't look at this like work. Okay, if you look at it like work, good morning, lady. Thank you. Hi, Monique. Good morning, Monique. Hi, Jen. So, yeah, if you look at it like work, okay, if you look at this process like, oh man, I gotta do all this work, then you're not gonna do it. And you're not gonna change the fruits because you will not change the roots. Okay? So, letting go of your roots to change your fruits. Okay? Letting go of things that do not serve you. I don't know how many times I have to reiterate this, okay? But when things don't serve you, it's time to let it go. Life is short. Life is short, you guys. Okay? When something doesn't serve you, allow it to leave. You don't have to kick it out. Just allow it to leave. Just do not engage anymore. Okay? Now, how do you engage? What constitutes engagement? Well, that can be thought. That can be that simple. It can be as simple as thought. Okay? Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Don't think about them. Don't think about him. Don't think about her. Whatever it is, whoever it is, doesn't matter. Because first comes the thought, then comes the emotion. Okay, now yesterday we were talking about the founder of Taoism, Lao Tzu, who said, muddy water, let stand, clears. Right? So if you leave something alone, pretty soon it resolves itself. You don't have to fix things. You don't have to fix anyone. You don't have the authority to fix someone. That's up to them. You can help. You can be there for someone. You can try to guide someone. You can support someone. But you can't live life for them. You can't change their roots. You can only change yours. But here's the good news, okay? Everything out here reacts to everything in here. So if you want to change circumstances out here, or you want to change the way people react to you out here, all you have to do is change this one. That's all you have to do. Just change this. Because when you change this, the way that everything out here reacts to this will change. Okay, so what's the first step? The first step is to identify the fruits that you want to change. Okay, fruits are your habits. Okay, the tree. The roots are your subconscious beliefs. Your paradigm, the way you see the world, is the trunk of the tree. Okay, the fruits, ye shall know them by their fruits. Okay, so the fruits are your actions that lead to results. There you go. Okay, so you identify which habits aren't serving you, which actions aren't serving you. You know, those actions that you do over and over again. It's coming from your subconscious. There is only the conscious, subconscious, and for sake of this discussion, the superconscious represents God. God is the superconscious. As far as spirituality goes, when we talk spiritual, it's the superconscious. Because if you're just talking scientific, there is only the conscious and subconscious. Okay, but if you believe in God, okay, then there's the superconscious. If you don't believe in God, there is only the conscious and subconscious. So we want to make that clear. So you trace the fruits back to the roots. In other words, back to the cause. Because if you're just treating the fruits, you're only treating symptoms. You're not treating the cause. You need to change at the cause. Okay? Change happens with the cause, not with the results, not with the actions. Okay, so what habit, what belief, what thought pattern, what environment is feeding these actions that are resulting in these undesired results that you're getting? That's what you have to look at. Okay, decide what to release and what to keep. So the universal law of correspondence tells us that whatever's going on in here is going on out here. Okay, everything out here reacts to everything in here, but if you really want to observe someone, how they are in here, just look at their immediate surroundings. How do they take care of their things? Do they have a messy desk, or do they have an organized desk? You cannot be messy out here and organized in here. It's impossible. So everything right out here is a reflection of what's going on in here. Okay? So now how do you plant new roots? How do you create this? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. And prayer is under the meditation. So prayer and meditation go together, because when you're praying, you're speaking to God. When you're meditating, you're listening to God. You have to do both. You have to pray and listen, speak and listen. You can't just speak. It doesn't work that way. It'll work a little bit. Yeah, prayer works by itself, yeah. But, you know, when you look at prayer, right, you are trying to persuade God to act on your behalf, okay? And when you look at how small a human being is compared to the 8 billion people, okay, yeah, so you need to listen. Why? Because you have a life path that unfolds from within. The kingdom is in here. Jesus Christ said the kingdom is in here. It's not out there. God is not up there. God is in here. So you go into the kingdom to pray. You go into the kingdom to meditate. You go into the kingdom to be still and know. And that's where you plant the new roots. In here, not out here. You can try to plan things out here. You can try and change things out here. But the reason that this will not change when you do it that way, when you're working on the exterior instead of the interior, the reason why this won't change is because you're going to bring forth the same actions based upon your beliefs. So it's the same thing over and over again. Now, when you change, thank you, Stanley. Thank you very much. So now when you change your beliefs, the things that you believe to be true, you install a new program. So if you want to look at it like a computer, okay? If you want to look at it like that. So your operating system is your conscious mind. Your hard drive is your subconscious. And the network is the superconscious. The network that we're all tied into. So how are we tied into this network? Energy. Whatever you call what's in here. You want to call this spirit, soul, energy, whatever you call that. Because you're not your body, you're not your name. You're the energy that lives in here. You tell these things what to do. You tell your body what to do. When you're under stress, right, we're talking the last couple of days, we're talking about awareness and how you are awareness. Because you can observe yourself in real time. You can observe your thoughts. You can observe your actions. You can monitor anything you do. Animals don't do that. They can't do that. They have one experience. They look out like that. That's it. They cannot experience themselves. They cannot observe themselves. So now, when you plant the new roots that are going to eventually shape your paradigm, that will eventually shape your actions, the fruits, okay? You have to nurture the new roots. What does that mean, nurture? Well, first you program, okay? So affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. If you do all 4 pillars aimed at one thing, it cannot not happen. It has to happen. Now, sometimes you may not recognize it. You may not recognize it to be the way you intended it to be. Because sometimes your higher power, your higher self, infinite intelligence, God, Jesus Christ, Allah, will give it to you, and you won't recognize it because you'll think, oh, okay, this happened over here. That's a coincidence. But when you really think about it, you go, yeah, I did think about that. Yeah, I was thinking about that. And I had that thought, and I thought about that for a little while, and then I let it go, and then boom, this happened over here. So it looks like a coincidence, right? It looks that way. But I'm here to tell you that God is real. God is very real. So when you're nurturing the new roots, what are you doing? You're enforcing these things. Consistency, patience, self-compassion. That's how you do this. Self-compassion. Yeah, you got to be compassionate with yourself. Because you live with you. You have no choice. You're stuck in here for the duration. This is why it's pointless to seek solutions out here. Because wherever you go, there you are. So when you're looking out here for the solution, when you're going to go on that vacation for the solution, oh, I got to get away. Get away from what? Get away from what? Your neighbor? Get away from your coworkers? Because you can't get away from yourself. But people all the time, right? They say, well, I'm going to go take a trip, and I'll feel better after the trip. And then they're sitting on the beach in the Bahamas with the same problems and the same feelings and the same thoughts that bring the same emotions. But, oh yeah, they're experiencing the Bahamas. Same problems, same thoughts, same emotions, different scene. Thank you, lady. So nurturing the new roots is important because you want these roots to take hold. So in order to do this, you have to be compassionate with yourself. You have to take it easy on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. Everybody else is going to be hard on you. Why would you want to be hard on yourself and add to that? Self-compassion. So if your career is in a state of stagnation, okay, so you're not growing like you want to. You're not getting ahead like you want to. You're not getting that promotion like you want to. You've been stuck with the same position. That kind of thing. You have to change the beliefs that you have about that. You know, some people say, I don't want the responsibility. It's a good excuse, right? To excuse themselves from advancement. No, I don't want the responsibility. That's no. They would want the money, but not the responsibility. So you have to take a look at what the blockages are. What are your blockages? What's in the way? What's preventing you from moving forward? Often, it's limiting beliefs. Okay, limiting beliefs hold people back from everything. On the outside, it may seem like, yeah, okay, I'm down for this. I'm good for this. I want this. I'm going to do this. But inside, if you doubt, if there's doubt and fear inside, it's going to slow down and stop. Okay, so your life path unfolds from within. Life happens this way. It doesn't happen this way. Okay, if your life is happening this way, you're suffering from victim mentality. Okay, because God is in here. God lives in here. So God unfolds your life for you like this, like that. And you experience it. And that's why it's all about the journey. It's about that journey. Okay? It's not about getting there. Because when you get there, you're going to find that it's still the same. It's how you got there that's interesting. It's the way that you arrived. It's all about the journey. It's not about the destination. When I did my Waikiki show in 2010, right? All the years leading up to that, that was the goal. That was the goal. When I stepped on the stage and I looked around, we had a packed house. The largest opening night anybody ever had at that hotel that we were at. And there were some pretty big name people that opened at that hotel. But our opening night was bigger, and I got on the stage and I thought I was gonna feel some kind of contentment, some kind of success, some kind of feeling. Because that was the end goal. And I walked up on the stage as I was singing, kicked my shoes off, turned around and looked at the audience and kept singing. And I didn't feel anything. And the light bulb went on. Oh, it's about the journey. Why? Because this feels like one big baby party. There was no difference. There was no difference standing on the stage in Waikiki, headlining a show, and standing in the rec centers in the neighborhoods, doing a baby party. There was no difference. The feeling was no different. But all of the baby parties that we had to do, all of the weddings that we had to do, all of the celebrations, retirement parties, all of that we had to do to get to Waikiki, all the practice that it took, repetition, right? All the practice that led up to it was the gift. Not standing on the stage headlining a show in Waikiki. That was the effect. All the practice, all the hard work, the blood, sweat, and tears, so to speak. That was the value. The value wasn't standing on the stage doing a big show. But it started when I was 17. And I would sit in this guy's showroom, and I would sit behind his organ after the show, and I would look out over the audience, which was a little smaller room than I had, just a little smaller, about 100 people smaller. And I used to look out over it and pretend that there was an audience there. I was visualizing, but I didn't know I was visualizing. In my mind, I was making pretend. But that's the visualization. So it's affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. First of all, you have to see yourself there. At 17 years old, I saw myself there. I didn't know that I was doing visualization at that time. I learned that later on. But first of all, you have to see yourself there. Secondly, visual representation is important. Get pictures that represent your goal. Get pictures that represent what it is you want to do, what it is you want to achieve, what it is you want to have, what it is you want to experience. And put these things on your phone, on your lock screen. Use your screensaver for these things. Make vision boards. You know, years ago, I heard this guy, he's a Christian like me, and he said, oh, that's devil stuff. That's of the devil. I'm like, devil? I'm like, that's your subconscious. Your subconscious is a devil? It's not devil stuff. This is not something you have to believe in. This is something that you are. You're a human being. You're made in the image of God. And God lives in here. But you have to exercise these things. You have to exercise these gifts. In order to have an optimum operating subconscious, you have to feed it. You have to exercise it. You have to do your affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization, because that's what gets it going. I've been showing people my Facebook stories for years and years. I don't know whether they're aware of it or not. First I show them the vision board, and then it comes. Then it happens. Human beings are designed like this. First you get the thought, right? The idea in your imagination, and you imagine the thing, whatever it is. It could be a job, it could be a relationship, it could be a thing, an inanimate object. And then you make an intention. I wish I had this. God, I wish I had this. Jesus, please bring me this. Now you have an intention. Now you take the intention and you marry it with emotion as if you already have it. Mark 11:24 in the Bible. Matthew 22:26. None of this is from the devil. This is all human stuff. This is all human being stuff. Manifestation sounds interesting. Manifestation sounds mystical. It's like, well, I'm gonna rub the lamp and then the car will show up in the driveway next week. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. But everything that is yours has already been given to you. You just need to uncover it. How do you uncover it? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Ask, believe in your asking, receive. I slept on the sidewalk. There was a big difference from sleeping on the sidewalk and where I woke up this morning. But it's up to you. It's always up to you. If you're taking your faith and you're putting it up there, you're putting it in the wrong place. God lives in here. Jesus Christ said, the kingdom is within. So you go in here to solve your problems. You go in here to ask. You go in here when you believe. And you will receive in here. And it will materialize out here. Because that's the universal law of correspondence. Whatever's in here is going to happen over here. So you get a thought. And the thought is new car. When it's a belief, when you believe that you will get a new car, that a new car is possible, that you can wrap your mind around new car, your subconscious starts giving you ideas about this. Oh, maybe you should get a side hustle. Maybe you should start saving money. Maybe you should. These are all actions. Every thought is an action. You know, when you hear people say, well, you got to take action on this. You know, people say, well, I got to work hard. No, but you need to apply yourself. Mental focus is a huge step towards the thing, whatever it is. Because you need to focus on it. Because the reticular activating system in your brainstem will filter out everything you're not focused on. So when you focus on something, you get more of it. When you're focused on making money, you make more money. When you're focused on vacation, you get more vacation. When you're focused on relaxation, you get more relaxed. When you focus on the red sports car, you start seeing all those red sports cars. You go, wow, I didn't know there were that many. There was always the same number. But your reticular activating system in your brainstem is filtering out all the cars you don't want to see and showing you only what you're focused in. That helps you to manifest it. Or let's say it another way. It helps you to achieve your goals. You need the target. Okay? Every goal is a target. You have to shoot at something. You have to aim at something. Aim high. In other words, make the target huge. If your target is this big and you only get this much, but you started here, you're still winning. You're still getting ahead. Most people ask too small. So I have a habit of asking big. Thank you, lady. When you get in the habit of asking big, you may not receive what you asked for. I used to write affirmations for $5,000 at a time. They used to come in the form of contracts. Sometimes I would get more than 5,000, sometimes I would get 3,000. When I started from zero and I wrote for 5,000, I only got 3,000. Do you think I was disappointed? I was overjoyed. Because I started with nothing. Let me show you how that looks. So this is the one the ones I'm finished with. I have tons of these in storage. Been doing this since 2007. These are affirmations. Okay, this is not journaling. It's not journaling. Be careful about journaling. It's the way that you journal that matters. Okay, if you're journaling about drama that happened, about the things that you didn't like that happened, you are bringing those problems into today. If you're journaling about what happened yesterday that you didn't like, the drama that, you're writing down, okay, that's going into your subconscious, you're bringing it into the next day. Dr. Joe Dispenza describes it as bringing your problems with you day to day to day to day to day to day. As a result, you live the same life over and over and over and over and over again until it's time to not live life anymore over here, when it stops. And then when you look back, oh yeah, poor Joe, he always suffered, he always struggled, he was always sick, he always had problems, he always had trauma. Why? Because he brought it from day to day to day to day to year to year to year to year to year to year till gone. That's why. You can change any circumstance in your life. You can change anything in your life. And for some people, it's not about money. If you think that money is the only way you can get something, you're suffering from limited thinking. Some people want to be far away from society. Some people want to be up in a log cabin all by themselves, away from society, up in the woods somewhere. And to them, that's success. The Russian writer Leon Trotsky said, "Success is living your life in your own way." But a lot of people look at it as money. Well, there's nothing wrong with money. Money's good. Money's a good thing. Until you start worshiping it, that's when you run into problems. Until you start placing money over people. Until you start placing money over human beings. Until you start putting money over family. That's when it becomes a problem. Before that, it's not a problem at all. Money amplifies who a person is in here. Money will do that. It will amplify who that person is. If it's a good person, you give them a lot of money, they'll do a lot of good with the money. They'll be generous, they'll be kind, they'll be giving, they'll do good things with the money. If a person is not good in here, okay, and this is the law of correspondence again, okay, all the money will do is amplify what's in here, what's within. So if this is not good, in Hawaii we say pono. If this is not pono, and tons of money is added to this, it makes this, which is not pono, which may be ugly, which may be negative, which may be bad, which may be evil, it will amplify this. It will make it bigger. Why? Because now the capability is stronger, right? Now this, right, has the capability of buying things, building things, developing things, making things bigger. Now it has the capability to expand. Now it has the capability to purchase certain things. You see? And that's the difference. When a good person receives a lot of money, it just amplifies the good things. It leads to charity. It leads to giving. It leads to generosity. It leads to philanthropy. And you don't need money to be a philanthropist in the true sense of the word. Because the most valuable thing you have is your time. Your time is the most valuable thing because you won't get that back. And how you spend your time matters. Because you could run out today. I could run out today. I don't know. I could run out at 12 o'clock. I could run out at 2 o'clock. I could run out of life at 5 o'clock. I don't know. This is why the journey is important. Because if you're journeying well and you're having a great journey and you run out of life, at least everyone will say, well, he had an amazing life. He was doing amazing things. He was happy. And then all of a sudden, gone. There was this guy that owned a music store, and I used to buy things from his music store all the time because he was a good guy. One night he went to sleep. That was it. And everybody at his funeral was saying the most beautiful things about this guy because he understood his time. He was generous with his time. He was generous with his money. He was generous with his employees. He was generous with everybody. So his journey was good. Generosity, kindness, love, compassion. Those are the things you need for a good journey. It's not about what you receive. It's about what you give. You ever see those people? They're like crabs. They want to see how much they can pull into their hole, right? They can only pull so much, but they still try to pull every little thing they can, right? And when you start living like this, what you're doing, what you're saying is that there's not enough. I need to hoard all of these things because there's not enough. And what happens? Your subconscious goes into scarcity. Why? Because you're always hoarding. There's not enough, there's not enough, there's not enough. What's the opposite? The opposite is giving. Giving. Here, take it. Go, give. Go, give. What happens when you give? Well, it automatically comes back. It goes out this way, it comes back around this way. It goes out here, comes back around in here. Like that. Always. Always. It's when you do this, right, that things run out. Because your subconscious starts doing this. Your subconscious starts reaching because it's like, oh, this is scarce. Money is scarce. We want to save all the money. There's two different ways of wealth. Number one, you can save all your nuts up like a squirrel. Put it all in the bank, put it all in Wall Street, put it all in investments, put it all in, like that. Or you can realize that the kingdom is in here. And when you discover that the kingdom is in here, and when you're good with the fact that the kingdom is in here, you're going to discover that when you need something, it miraculously shows up. It just shows up. It's like, wow, I was just thinking about, and then somebody just gave me this. Like I was just thinking about that. And here it is. When you really need money, just be patient. Just be patient and focus on the kingdom. Pray in the kingdom. Meditate in the kingdom. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Visualize in the kingdom with your distractors closed like this. and visualize and see it in your mind. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Visualize to materialize. If you can't see it, you can't believe it. Ask, believe, receive. If you don't believe in what you're asking, if you don't believe you can receive what you're asking, it won't come. It cannot come because there's fear and doubt involved. I know a lot of people that pray. They pray all day long. They pray in big groups. Nothing ever happens. Why? It's not because prayer doesn't work. Prayer works. Prayer works, but you have to believe in your asking. In other words, you cannot pray and then go, well, I hope it happens. You cannot pray and go, well, I think this is going to work. Let me pray one more time. I think it's going to work. Pray one time, knowing it's going to work. Because God is real and God lives in here. God lives in you. You are a co-creator with God. Or infinite intelligence. Or Jesus Christ. Or Allah. Or. Jesus Christ said the kingdom is in here. Gautama Buddha said the kingdom is in here. Krishna said the kingdom is in here. Lao Tzu said the kingdom is in here. It goes on and on and on and on and on. But the kingdom is in here, not out there. Jesus was teaching that the kingdom is within. And when you know it's within, you don't go without. Because you go within, if that makes any sense. So how does this affect relationships? Change the roots to change your fruits. How does that work with relationships? It creates healthy boundaries. You don't need to establish healthy boundaries. When you work on this one, when you change this one, okay, affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization, the boundaries are automatic. They pop up. Why is that? Because when you're confident, people don't even mess with you. When you're confident, people don't even think to prey on you. Look at the animal kingdom. The only animals that get preyed on are the ones that display weakness. The weaklings. Or the injured ones. Right? They get preyed on. When you're confident, people don't even want to bother. They don't want to mess with you. But when you display weakness, when you show weakness, when you display weakness, easy target. Easy target. You keep attracting people who take advantage of you. And you may not realize it. You may not realize you have the symptoms. But they're there. So it happens. And you can tell it's there because it keeps happening. It won't happen if it's not there. So what's one of the things you can do? Well, stop people pleasing. Stop trying to please others. Just be. Just be. Be you. Just be. Because when you're trying to appease, when you're trying to cater, when you're putting someone on a pedestal, you're worshiping them. They know you're worshiping them. They know they're not worthy of worship. You see? So what is your new route in that instance? Start saying no. Value your own needs. Okay, put more value in this one. What does that do? It attracts mutual respect. It's about love and respect, or it's about nothing. Because if you don't have love and if you don't have respect, what do you have? Something superficial. What is that? Nothing. It doesn't exist. It's a facade. It's a shadow of something. There's no meat to it. There's no substance to it. What about poor health? How do you change the roots? Everything starts with belief. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. If you think you're sickly, you're going to get sick. How long have we been doing the lives? Months. I've been here every day. Have I been sick? No. Because I just believe that. Do I get sick? Yeah, once in a while. Maybe once a year. Sometimes once every 2 years. How does that happen? Belief. You have to believe. I see people walking around with masks. You know, people walk around with masks. People drive in their car by themselves with masks on. That's conditioned fear. That's fear in action. Low energy equals frequent illness. Fear equals frequent illness. Doubt equals frequent illness. You ever see somebody always sick? Always sick. How come he's always sick? I don't know. Maybe it's what he's eating? No, it's the way he's thinking. The food will keep you alive. Your mental condition will keep you well. Thoughts become things. So, can a person eat healthy but then inflict illness upon themselves with their thoughts? Yeah, sure, all day long. All day long. Because if you don't believe here, it's not going to translate here in the physical. Everything starts in thought. Because you're the energy that lives in here. You're that energy in here. That energy in here decides what happens to these guys, this physical body. It decides what happens to this. So what are you thinking? Are you thinking fear, or are you thinking love? Are you thinking health, or are you afraid of sickness? If you're fearing sickness, it will attract more sickness. Those people with the mask driving around by themselves in the car, okay, they are fearing. They are fearing. They will be the first ones to get sick. Why? Because they're bringing it on themselves. Just the fact that they're driving alone with a mask on, with nobody else in the car, is demonstrating their fear. So you can eat healthy, you can exercise, and you can still be sick. If your thoughts are like that, if your thoughts are fearful, if your thoughts are like, oh wow, I hope I don't get sick, I hope I don't get sick, I hope I don't get sick, what's the subject matter? Sick. I hope I don't get sick, I hope I don't get sick. It's just like, you know, debt. If you're thinking about debt, you know, I hope I don't get in debt, I hope it, you know, what's the subject? Debt. Are you going to get in debt? Guarantee. Guarantee. It will lead to that, because that's the topic. Now, what about health? If health is the topic, are you going to get healthy? Of course. Why? Because first you think the thought, then it becomes a belief in your subconscious because you think it so much. Thoughts become things. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. Now what? Now the subconscious is going to show you evidence of health. And when you do something that's not healthy, it's going to stick out in your mind. When you eat junk food, the alarms go off. Hey, you're not supposed to eat that. Right? Maybe it tastes good, right? For a treat, maybe it tastes good. Okay, I'm gonna have, I'm gonna have Jack in the Box today. I'm not saying Jack in the Box is junk. I'm just saying that, maybe you go outside of your diet or outside the norm or whatever, and you have a treat. Okay? But the bells will go off. The alarms will go off in your head. Oh, I'm not supposed to eat this. There's your reminder. Then what happens? Well, then you get back on track and you avoid it. But this is all subconscious. This is what you believe. Now, some people think that, okay, if I eat sugar all day long, nothing's going to happen to me. And some people can eat, and not gain a pound. And some people, like me, right, I can eat just a little bit too much, and put on 5 pounds just like that. Genetics or belief? It's belief. Everybody has something to work on. Everybody has something to conquer. Everybody has something that's challenging them. And sometimes the list is long. Sometimes the list is long. So to make your list shorter, affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Start crossing things off the list like that. What about scarcity mindset? Ooh, that's a big one, right? Scarcity mindset. If you're always struggling, chances are you see things as a struggle. Okay? If struggle is in your vocabulary, if you say the word struggle, oh, I'm struggling. Life is a struggle. Oh, so-and-so, he's struggling. See? Now you're bringing struggle into reality. First you think it, then the emotion comes. Struggle. It even sounds that way, right? Struggle. It has that harsh sound to it. Not like the word ease. Ease. See? Ease. Struggle. See? See the vibrational difference? Ease. Easy. Things are easy. Take it easy. My life is easy. I live with ease. Struggle. My life is a struggle. I'm always struggling. There, you see? You see the difference? Change your speech. If you make a mistake, just call it to your attention and forgive yourself. There you go. The easiest way to forgive yourself. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Done. Done. It's Hawaiian ho'oponopono. Look it up. If you write to me, I'll show you how to spell it. Okay. Scarcity mindset versus abundance mindset. Abundance mindset, always have. Have. Always have. Scarcity, I don't have. I wish I had. I wish I had the money for that. I wish I could afford that. I wish. And now what you're doing is pronouncing scarcity upon yourself. So how do you change that? Well, if it's like money is hard to get or money is hard to come by, that kind of thing. What's the new route? Well, learn wealth building skills. Focus on wealth building. Focus on wealth in the positive. When you focus on it in the negative, it goes away. When you focus on it in the positive, it comes. Do people change their mind? Yes, all the time. Money comes in cycles. All you have to do is watch the rhythm of money. When does money come? When does money go? When money starts to go, don't panic. When money starts to go, don't worry. When money starts to go, that's when you should start making yourself happy. Watch comedy. Watch comedy movies, comedy shows, comedians laugh, enjoy, and then you call back the money like that. When you panic and you go, oh no, there's no money. You see? There's no money, you see? And what happens to money? Money goes away. You can call money. Money is an energy. Like attracts like. You give good energy, you get good money. You get bad energy, money goes away. Money is an energy. What about self-confidence? Low self-worth, low self-confidence, lack of belief in yourself. I know people that go to church, I know people that go to temple, right? They praise the Lord all day long, but they don't believe in themselves. Jesus Christ said the kingdom is within. God lives in here. If you don't believe in this one, you're not partnering with God. You're not co-creating with God. You can go to church all you want. You can go to temple all you want. But if you don't believe, see, there's a contradiction. You can say, oh no, but I praise God every Sunday, every day, every morning, all day long. But if you have no belief in this one, if you have no faith in this one, then what do you get? Low self-worth, low self-esteem, low self-confidence. Are you working with God at that point? No. You're not drawing upon the power of God. Then what? Then you're on your own. But when you seek the kingdom, when you go inside, when you close your distractors like that, and you go in the kingdom, now you ask, believe in your asking, and you will receive. It has to happen. How do you get to the believing part? How do you strengthen the believing part? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. There you go. And Jay is over here saying, see you tomorrow. Hey, Philin, good morning. Good morning from Hawaii. So we're here every morning at 7 a.m. on 7 different platforms. And so we'd like to disconnect our international stream right now. So we'd like to thank you guys for being here and send you lots of love and aloha from